Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Michael Workman with Resin Market Moves. Today is Saturday, April 11th. So, spent a good amount of time yesterday hauling dance props for my kids' dance recital. I am a dance dad over the weekend. Heavy equipment, no manual, and directions that often change every few minutes. It can feel a little challenging. You figure it out by watching what's actually going on and not by waiting for somebody to hand you a report or give you direction. Quite candidly, that it's exactly the skill that resin market folks are asking of buyers right now, because this week it's not just one resin, not two, it's every major resin we track that's moving higher simultaneously, driven really by the same upward cost pressures on feedstocks. If you're managing a broad portfolio of resins and you're waiting for your supplier to tell you what's going to happen, it's already too late. So let's walk through it together here. Let's start with polyethylene. Producers led by Dow are targeting 30 cents a pound for April. Yes, that is 30 cents. Another 20 cents is being telegraphed for May. That's a potential 50 cents a pound of cumulative exposure over a 60-day period, which is crazy to think about. The market expects realized gains closer to about 15 cents due to buyer pushback. But that gap isn't going to just disappear. It's going to move to May. Export demand is starting to give producers leverage that's allowing things to firm up here domestically. Don't mistake buyer resistance for any retreating in the market right now. In polypropylene, we're really seeing prices continue to be driven by PGP, polymer grade propylene, which moved into the low 60 cents a pound range this week with overlapping PDH unit outages that we've been talking about for a few weeks now. Things are tight on the feedstock side and volatile. 10 cents is the nomination for April with some pretty good cost support behind it. ABS, polystyrene, polycarbonate, all share an unfortunate feedstock that's driving some upward pressure there, and that's benzene. Benzene contract numbers came in almost a full dollar a gallon higher. And that moves through every resin that it touches more so than others. ABS producers are pushing 15 to almost 30 cents a pound, with polystyrene looking at a 17-cent increase. The carbonate, we've seen anywhere between 10 to 16 cents, and some larger nominations in certain specific situations. Really, it's the same fire that's spread across different buildings of the complex, if we're using that metaphor. ET has its own cost driver, and that's paraxylene. The April contract is expected to settle near 82.5 cents, which is up almost 14 cents a pound from March. All of the PET producers have active increase announcements in place. We've seen fuel surcharges as well. And that single feedstock move is really what's behind it. In PVC, turnaround season is continuing to be active, doing the real work. In this particular resin category, there's one supplier that has a 45 days into an outage, and another that is 25 days into an outage that's running simultaneously. We're expected to see some more in May scheduled. Ethylene was also up 2.25 cents, which is not helping PVC. Producers are targeting between 5 to 7 cents in April. And the engineered resin nylon families, the 6 and 6,6 polyamides that we typically focus on, again, upward cost pressure, benzene, caprolactam is up, energy, obviously, in general. Producers are targeting 14 to over 20 cents a pound on 6 and 18 to 20 cents on nylon 6. Demand continues to be soft. Automotive, we've heard this, we beat the same drum seemingly for the last almost year now, which just limits full implementation there, but it really doesn't change the cost floor with the feedstock movements. Now, we did see West Texas Intermediate hit nearly $113 midweek last week before pulling back on the ceasefire announcement. Benzene came off a spike for the same reason. And we've really been talking to buyers that are reading that as a sign the market is softening, and that's not really the case. Ceasefire still has, it reduces the risk premium, but it doesn't eliminate it in general, and it's not going to change the ethylene costs. It's not going to restart some of these assets that are down. The structural cost movements is still there, and the producers who announced April increases are not withdrawing them. What it means for you, so it kind of reminds me of moving props in the dark on a Friday night, so a bunch of kids can perform under the lights. That's a perfectly fine trade to make over the weekend, but it's not a good procurement strategy by any means. I did catch a video late last night by Stanford as Joel Peterson, who is he's done some great work on negotiation strategies and some practical work there. And he makes a point that applies directly to the call that you're about to have next week with your supplier. By the time you're in the room or on the phone, most of the outcome has already been determined by the quality of the information that each side brings to the table. So your supplier knows this market. They transact thousands, maybe more across the geography. They know where the market's clearing and what your alternatives look like if they're paying attention and what it costs you to change. The question is, again, have you done the same homework before you pick up the phone or on that side of the table? And if the answer is no, then now's the time to get to work and do that. Know your actual benchmark, not necessarily just the published index number, because we all know that every grade is different. It's important to think through comparing yourself on a benchmark to comparable grades that can be normalized for volume and other regional aspects. Treat the increase letters as a starting point, as claims. Every April nomination is going to have some legitimate cost recovery component, and it's also going to have some margin expansion. The important thing is to know which is which and have that conversation now. The window to influence Q2 is going to be closing here at 2 to 3 weeks in most categories, maybe less. Don't move your props in the dark. Don't enter the negotiation table without your number. Know your number before they give you theirs. I'm Michael Workman. This is Resin Market Moves. Have a great week.